my humble pranams at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Bhagavan Sri Sati Sai Baba. Dear brothers, sisters, elders and kids, loving Sairams to all. Our Bhagavan has granted us and blessed us today with a speaker who has been with Swami for many years. Dr. Shashank Shah is an alumni of Sri Satyasai Institute of Higher Learning, Prashanti Nilayam, and has been blessed with numerous interactions and experiences with our beloved Swami. A Jamshedji Tata grantee, he is currently a visiting scholar at Harvard Business School. Dr. Shah completed his PhD and postdoctoral research in corporate shareholders management at Satyasai Institute of Higher Learning. He was awarded the President of India Gold Medal and the Governor's Gold Medal for excellence in the MBA and MPhil programs at Swami's Institute. He received the Association of Indian Management Scholars International Outstanding Doctoral Award from the Institute of Management at Ahmedabad. He also received the HR College Golden Alumnus Award from the Sharif of Mumbai for his research achievements. He has published over 70 research-based papers and case studies in peer-reviewed national and international journals in the areas of social responsibility, stakeholders management, values-based management, and education. He co-authored 4 books and 2 monographs. His magnum opus, Soulful Corporations, was published by Springer in 2013. He was also an editor of the university's publications division. He compiled and edited over a dozen books of Indian ethos and values based on the message of our beloved Swami. On multiple occasions, he has addressed large gatherings on Indian culture, spirituality, and values-based education. Though his bio is long, the reason he is here today is to share his experiences with our beloved Swami. Like Bhakta Prahalada, he has proven that age is no bar for spiritual progress. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming our beloved guest for today, Dr. Shashank Shah.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Offering our loving pranams at the divine lotus feet of our most beloved Bhagwan. Thank you, brother, for your introduction. And I'm very grateful to the organizers from the Chicago area for having invited me here to share my thoughts, my experiences, and also Bhagwan's glory and message. So it's a great opportunity for me to be here. It's my first visit to Chicago. Usually whenever I used to start talking, when the Swami used to bless me to give a talk, I used to go to Swami and I always used to pray, Swami, please speak through me. So he used to usually pretend as to he is not heard. So he will pretend that he is not heard. And again he will make us repeat, Swami, please speak through me. So he will say, tapaga, definitely, I will. And then we used to come back and stand on the podium like this, and then usually we used to give him a letter, so Swami used to be reading the letter. And then in the middle of the letter, when he will feel that the speech has not yet started, he will look at you. And we used to wait till Swami used to give us permission to start the speech. So then you'll be looking at Swami, and then slowly he will turn his glance towards you, and then he will look at you into the eye, and then he will nod his head like that. And that's the indication that the speech begins. So I usually have that practice even now. And I visualize all those moments when we used to have that interaction, both verbal and through the eye contact, before I start the speech. So, my loving Sairams to all the brothers and sisters of America and Chicago, and welcome to the Aradhana Day program for the year 2015. I have attempted to put forth my thoughts today on the theme of Swami's life being his message, and I'll attempt to put forth how Swami made his life his message, and what is it that we can learn from Swami's life so that we can make our life his message. So this journey from my life is my message to our life is his message, is what I'll be attempting to present today. Starting with the Bhagavad Gita, I thought I will try and bring about a historic perspective. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna had given 3 promises to Arjuna and through Arjuna to all the devotees, then and now, 5,000 years. And what were those 3 promises? It's important to remember them. The first one was Paritranaya Sadhuna Vinashaya Chadushkritam Dharma Samstharpanarthaya Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. Whenever there is an ascent of wrong in the world, in order to remove that, reduce that, and to protect the virtuous, I incarnate from age to age. The second one, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshayishyami Masucha. Give up all your other duties, surrender to me, and I will take care of your welfare, your spiritual welfare, and confer on you liberation itself. And the last one is Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Ye Jana Parayupasate Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam Yogakshemam Vahamyaham. The one who incessantly, all the time thinks of me and me alone to take care of his welfare is my responsibility. Swami made some similar 3 declarations way back in the year 1947, in the month of May, just a couple of months before India was going to get its political independence. There was a letter from his brother, Sri Sheshamraju, to Swami, who was then a 21-year-old youth. You can imagine Swami at the age of 21, with all the grand mass hair on his head, and the youthful look on his face, and the mischief in his eyes, and all ready to start his mission of universal redemption. And Swami wrote back to Sheshamraju, who was concerned that Swami's increasing popularity in the so-called public eyes may lead to some negative outcomes for him. So as an elder brother, he was trying to counsel Swami about the harm that public visibility has. And then in response to that letter, a letter must be read by each one of the devotees because it's a landmark letter. It's like a vision document which Swami has put forth before all the devotees. And in that he mentioned 3 things which are like the 3 objectives of his avatar group. And I think we should know them, being members of his organization and also devotees who are carrying forth the mantle put before us by Swami. And what are they? I will just mention the ones in Telugu and then translate it. It's important to know in Telugu and then know the translation. I know there's a preference only for English in US, but then I somehow have a taste for the local language. So there are a couple of things I may be mentioning in the local language and then put forth the English translation. So what the first thing Swami said in that letter to his brother, he said, Akila Manavulaku Ananda Munagurchi Rakshinchu Chundate Diksha Naku. It is my vow to ensure that I provide lives full of Ananda for all mankind. Someone at the age of 21 saying that I will provide Ananda to all mankind, that is my vow. That's what Swami said. The second one, Sanmargamuna Vedi Cherinchu Varala Cheyi Patti Kapadate Vratamu Naku. Those who have given up the right path, who have gone on to the wrong path, to hold their hand and bring back them to the right path is my task. And the third one, Swami said, be the sadala kaina penubad toliginche levini bapute premanaku. I have a work which is dear to me. And what is that? To remove the sufferings of the poor and ensure lives full of joy and happiness for them. Now, why is it necessary for us to know these 3 vows of Swami, these 3 vision statements which Swami put before us way back in 1947? It is because it is on basis of these 3 vision statements that Swami has built the great grand legacy of the Satyasai age. Whether it is the commencement of the ashram at Prashanti in the 1950s, or it is the establishment of the Satyasai organizations in the 1960s, or it is the establishment of the Satyasai Central Trust in the 1970s, or it is the establishment of the university in the 1980s, or it is the establishment of the super specialty hospital and medical institutions in 1990s. The principle, the background and the focus of each of these institutions have been the fulfillment of these 3 vision statements which Bhagavan put before all of us way back in 1947. We often say today that whom do we go to guidance for? because Bhagavan is no longer physically accessible. Bhagavan need not be physically accessible because He has given us everything that we need for now and for the next thousands and thousands of years through over 5,000 discourses that He has placed before us. And out of these 5,000, almost 2,500 are already recorded and published, and the others are under process. So anytime we wish to know a simple question, whether we should do a particular activity or not in the organization, whether we should do a particular activity in our life, and whether that will be acceptable to Swami, the way He would have said to us that yes, go ahead. The touchstone to know that is whether that activity fulfills one of these three vision statements that Swami put before us way back in 1947. If that activity is fulfilling any one of these three, then it is for the joy of mankind. It is for bringing back those who have given away the path of righteousness, to bring them back into that path. And if it is for alleviating the sufferings of the poor and the forlorn and the downtrodden, and ensure more meaningful, fruitful and joyful lives for them, then it is 200% accepted, stamped by Swami that yes, this is Swami's work, this is Swami's mission. So I thought I will start with something which gives a very large perspective to what Swami's mission was about, is about and will be about. Now we move on to the next part, which is about my life is my message. This was sometime in late 2007-2008. One of the groups had come from Europe to present a music program before Swami. And at the end of the program, among the students there is a trend. At the end of their farewell programs, they usually shout out and say, Swami, we love you. So we saw that that trend was carried on by many of the Western devotees. When they used to come at the end of the presentation, they used to shout out aloud, Swami, we love you. So Swami used to smile, and when the students said, Swami, we love you, he always used to say, yes, yes, I also love you. But in that particular year, in 2007-8, when one of the groups shouted out, Swami, we love you, Swami didn't say, I love you too. Swami paused for a second and he said, no, 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 don't love me, love my message. That was a very, very pertinent observation which Brother Satyajit made when he gave one of the talks to us in the hostel. He said he was sitting by Swami's side and Swami had mentioned that day, no, no, don't love me, love my message. Because when we love Swami's message, we automatically love Swami. If we just try and visualize that with respect to mother and child's relationship, we have a child who keeps telling the mother, I love you mommy, I love you mommy, I love you mommy. But if the child doesn't do what the mommy tells him to do, then is he really loving mommy? All the mummies here will agree that no, the child has to listen to me to prove that he really loves me. He loves my words, he loves my instructions, she loves my directions. That is an indication that she loves me. The same thing gets extrapolated from the physical mother to the universal mother. The moment we say that we love Swami, we indirectly first have to love his message, and then we automatically love Swami because he is not separate from his message. Today we celebrate what is called Aradhana Utsavam. Actually, it is a little dichotomous because the word Utsav is celebration. And the word Aradhana is more somber, it's more serious because we are doing a homage, a worship to somebody. Usually Aradhana Mahotsavas are held in that regard, to homage to the departed for the glorious life they lived. For Swami, we cannot use that word departure, homage, obeisance, because Swami, there was never a time when Swami was not there, and there will never be a time when Swami will not be there. In 1964, if I am right, when Swami had visited Rishikesh, to the ashram of Swami Shivananda, at the insistence of Swami Satyananda and the other Swamiji who was the disciples of Swami Shivananda, he had gone to Rishikesh to visit Swami Shivananda and spend some time at the Rishikesh ashram. So in one of those conversations there, that time Swami Shivananda was very unwell, he was on the wheelchair almost, he was not keeping good health. In one of the conversations, Swami was talking to him and Swami said, do you remember in 1914, this is documented in Satyam Sundaram, do you remember in 1914, you were doing intense sadhana, and at the end of that sadhana, you had a particular vision, And Swami described the vision which Swami Shivananda had at the end of that particular sadhana which he did. So Swami Shivananda was quite aghast. He said, Swami, how do you know that I have got that vision at the end of that sadhana? I have not told anybody about it. And then the second question Swami Shivananda put before our Swami, he said, and you were not even born at that time. So Swami smiled, and then Swami said, am I ever born? And the next sentence Swami said, do I ever die? So the true Aradhana Mahotsavam which we need to celebrate, commemorating this day, is when we make our life a full of Utsavam in His Aradhana. Then it will truly be Aradhana Mahotsavam. What is Utsavam? Celebration. What is Aradhana? Worship. Our life has to be filled with that festival of His worship. That is the true homage that we can pay to Swami all through the year, all through our lives. That will be a true celebration of Aradhana Utsavam. I now attempt to present different aspects of Swami's life. As I said, his life is his message, but how do we understand and how do we learn from that so that we can make his life our message? I have divided his life into 6 different facets, covering different time periods of his life, and see how each aspect of his life has a message for us, what we can relate to, because each one of us is in a different stage of our life, and there is a message for each one of us irrespective of the stage of life that we are in. So we start from Swami's childhood, when he was a small boy, a member of the family, and a very, very active, enthusiastic and inspiring member at that. So when at the age of 8, his grandfather, Sri Kondamaraju, decided to divide the house. He decided to divide the house between his 2 sons, Sri Pedavavenkamamaraju and Sri Chinnavekamaraju, because they were huge families. It was a joint family. Now we need to understand the context of this avatar in the light of the nuclear versus joint family systems that India has been going through. We have to understand the context of this avatar's life in the modified circumstances when India was under a foreign power. We need to understand the context of this avatar which was born in a rural setup, in a poor family. Unlike the other avatars who were born in a royal lineage, as kings, as lords of the land, and it was a very different agenda before them, Swami had chalked out a very different agenda for himself. So, when Sri Kondamaraju decided to divide the house between the 2 sons, he said that I want only one thing, and there are no awards or prizes for guessing what that was. He said, I want Satyam to be with me. You take the property, divide it into 2 parts amongst yourselves, but Satyam will remain with me. And no doubt about it, it was the wisest decision ever. And Swami was staying with his grandfather. And through that period of his life, Swami showed how an ideal grandson should take care of his grandparent. Swami used to take care of Sri Kondamaraju. Swami used to ensure that his food is cooked, serve him, go to school, before that cook for Sri Kondamaraju, go back, come back, give him dinner, wash the vessels, get ready for the next day. We've heard discourses when Swami has described how the rasam that Swami used to make was so famous that the aroma used to attract villagers all over Puttaparthi and sometimes even from neighboring villages. Because that rasam didn't only have taste properties, it also had a lot of medicinal properties. So we had the cook in Swami come out in its fullness and showed how his culinary arts were at its peak. And not only that, Sri Kondamaraju had a desire. He said, one day he held Swami's hand and he said, Dashratha always desired that Rama should be there at his bedside at the last minute and he should give him the water, which is the tradition in India. The son or the grandson gives water to the departing soul because it is considered as the last wish of that person given the love that he has for his son or his grandson. So he said that Dashratha was not blessed with that opportunity, but I want you to bless me with that opportunity when I am in my last moments. You should come and pour water in my mouth. And Swami said, yes, I promise you. Now this happened about 15 years later when Swami had already shifted to the Prashantli Mandir, and at the ripe old age of about 105 or so, Sri Kondamaraju used to walk to Prashantli Mandir every single day to have Swami's darshan. Then his age advanced and he was not much well enough to come and have Swami's darshan. So one fine day, Swami went to Shri Kondamaraju house in the village, and Shri Kondamaraju realized that yes, my time has come. He told Ishwaramma, get the water from the kitchen. Satyam has come to bless me. And she was wondering as to why he is saying like that. And then when Swami came, he inquired, how are you doing? How is your health? Everything. And then Swami poured the water in Shri Kondamaraj's mouth, and he said, take care of your health. I just came to see you. He said that, and he left. And no doubt the same evening, Shri Kondamaraju passed away. So how an ideal grandson takes care of his grandfather, how he fulfills the promises that he has given irrespective of the age and stage of life that he is in. Then we have Swami as an ideal brother. We know that Swami had a family, a physical family at birth of about 5 siblings, including himself. And he was staying for his higher studies with his elder brother, Sri Sheshavaraju. That was at Uravakonda. And at that time there was a perennial problem in the district of Anantapur, which was on for almost a century. And Swami had himself suffered what water shortage and paucity can mean for someone in a daily life situation. He used to himself fill the water for the household requirement by going to the neighboring well, filling the water and coming back twice a day, thrice a day, based on the requirements of the household. And while doing that, he had developed some marks here on his shoulder because of the weight of the water going back and forth. And then his neighbors used to tell him, in fact his father also, when he came to visit him once, he told him, why are you doing all this? This is not your job, you have come here to study. Please study. So he said, no, I am doing it because it is my duty to serve. If there is an opportunity to serve, I will never let it go away. 50 years later, when Swami inaugurated the Anantapur water supply project, the devotees and the citizens of the district of Anantapur, which consists of about 700 villages in a population of over 1 million, had come to Prashantinilayam to express their gratitude to Swami for providing them drinking water after over a century of waiting, when the government of the state, the government of the country, even during the British regime and subsequently, couldn't do anything for alleviating the water supply problem in Anantapur, which is the second most dry district in India after the desert region in Rajasthan. This is just for your information. That is the kind of geology of Anantapur district where Puttaparthi is located. So when these people came there, in 18 months Swami completed the water project and provided water to 1 million people at the cost of $70 million, which was the largest water supply project undertaken by any non-governmental organization anywhere in the world. Then Swami said, they said, thank you Swami for this opportunity and for giving us water which we were waiting for a century. Swami said, no, you don't need to thank me. I am thanking you because you have given me an opportunity to serve you. And in the future also, if there is an opportunity to serve you, please come to me and tell me how I can serve you. That is the ideal of humility, an ideal of service, an ideal of what a good younger brother should do for the family of the brother and his wife and his children, is what Swami set in that early days. And then an ideal son. There are discourses and discourses that we have heard of Swami on Ishwaramma and his relationship with her love for him, and how repeatedly Swami talks about those 3 vows that Srimati Ishwaramma had asked from Swami, about a village well so that there can be drinking water access, about a small school in the village so that the children don't have to walk miles to get education, and about the healthcare facility because there was no hospital in the vicinity. So ladies in the family way, older people who do not have access to medicine and need to go far away, their problems and their troubles are solved. So she said, please arrange for these 3 things. Swami did it right away when he could, in a small way as was required at that point in time. But he didn't leave it at that. Whenever he had the opportunity, the wherewithal, the resources and the manpower to execute that project, he continued to keep the desires of his mother in mind and fulfilled it in the best way ever possible by scaling it up to levels that have gained international recognition. Whether it is the water supply projects which have supplied drinking water to nearly 2.5 million people across 3 states of India in a matter of 12 years, which is almost equal to a population of a couple of European countries. Swami single-handedly provided that between 94 and 2006. Whether it is super specialty hospitals, which have today given free services to over 2.5 million people in terms of outpatient treatment and over 200,000 surgeries in different specializations absolutely free of cost. Or whether it is university, which has trained and groomed individuals like Brother Ram, Brother Murli and myself, who have been able to gain professional experience, competence, excellence and lead a meaningful life based on Bhagavan's guidance. Swami established these only to fulfill the desire of his mother, thereby permanently leaving behind an ideal what a good son should be doing. We always link Swami's mission to these 3 institutions. I disagree to that. Swami's mission is not surrounding these 3 institutions. These 3 institutions are a tribute of Swami to the wishes of his mother to show an example as to how an ideal son should behave. It is said in the Purush Suktam, and I quote one verse from there, which says, Padosya Vishwa Bhutani Tripadasya Divi. The cosmic person, the entire manifest universe, is only 1/4 of his reality. 3/4 of his reality is unmanifest. It is not even known. And if we believe and are convinced that Swami is an embodiment of that cosmic being who came in this form, can that cosmic being limit his vision and his mission to 3 kinds of institutions? These are only cases in point as we read in books. The real purpose of Swami's mission was much more vast, much more subtle, much more all-encompassing, that it may take 1,000 years for us to actually fathom what Swami's real mission was. Only 1,000 or 2,000 years later, when the Bhagavatam is written on Swami's life, to do an impact analysis, as modern management jargon is, as to what really Swami achieved in his avatar route, we will take only 2,000 years to know the actual impact of what Swami's seeds that Swami has sown have led to what kind of fruits. Swami always used to say, I give you what you want so that you will ultimately want what I have come to give. And that is liberation itself. So that is the larger purpose with which Swami began his mission. We now move to the second aspect of Swami's life which I wish to highlight, and that is as an ideal student. We have stories of Rama going to the ashram of Vasishta and getting education there with other young boys. We have the story of Krishna going to the ashram of Sandipani and getting education there. We have the story of Shirdi Sai Baba going to the ashram of Vaikusa and getting education there. But by the time Swami became of school-going age, the Gurukula system had almost come to a close. And so we have our master going to a school which was a modern school, which was the Uravakonda High School in the modern ways as we have, with timetables, with benches, with teachers coming in and out taking classes. And Swami very, very interestingly adjusted and showed that how an avatar, how a prophet, how a master, how a divine embodiment of the Supreme actually behaves as an ideal student does. So what does he do? He gets the highest rank in the taluka when he gives the 8th form examination. So much so that all his friends carry him on his shoulders to celebrate the success of Satya. He portrays himself through his actions as an excellent all-rounder in all co-curricular activities. Sometimes we call them extracurricular activities. Swami always used to correct the teachers in the university. Nothing is extracurricular. Everything is co-curricular. It is a part of the curriculum. So I changed my language from that day and I always remind myself to use the word co-curricular activities. So whether it is a dancer and he did the beautiful job of dancing like Rishendra Mani did, or whether it is a singer and he started the entire Pandari Bhajan group, whether it is the job of an actor and director when he wrote the drama called Chappinatlu Chestara, which has been documented in Satyam Shivam Sundaram, or whether it is the job of a scout. You can imagine Swami wearing the scout uniform and going to the Pushpagiri festival and there maintaining discipline, helping in maintaining hygiene, serving the visitors and the pilgrims in the Pushpagiri festival with drinking water and taking care of small children when the parents are going to the temple. Swami showed what an ideal scout is. All of this Swami depicted in his life. What a student should be. He should be a true all-rounder. Swami had told once to students, he said, I am telling you all so many things about discipline, about balanced life, about excellence in education and co-curricular activities. Swami said, do you know why I am telling you? Because I have a right to tell you. Not because I am senior to you in age, but because I have myself done all of that as a student. I have myself excelled in academics. I have myself excelled in co-curricular activities. I have myself excelled in discipline. I have myself excelled in service activities while I was a student. So Swami showed in his life as a student what an ideal student should be. How an ideal student should be a good friend. In today's discourse, if you would have seen, which was showed on Radio Sai about the discourse excerpt on Prashantalayam on the Aradhana Mahotsavam day. They usually have a video clipping in Swami's discourse. Swami remembered the story of Ramesh and Paresh, his friends in school, and how he was not in a very good financial situation that time, his family. And so Ramesh and Paresh always used to try and help him. And he always used to refuse any material help from them. And he used to say, friendship is not based on material gifts. Friendship has to be heart to heart. That is what true friendship should be based on. We all have friends, we are in school. We all have friends, we are in college. What is a true friendship that we need to develop? Swami showed through his friendship. Decades later, when Swami walked all the way from the stage in Purnachandra into the audience with a bag of prasadam in his hand. Some clothes were distributed that day. So he told Professor Anil Kumar, as I recollect, that please give me one bag of clothes. And Anil Kumar so immediately ran and gave a bag of clothes to Swami, which was being distributed. Swami walked down the Purnachandra stage, went all the way into the audience, and Professor Anil Kumar followed Swami behind him. And he was wondering where Swami is going with that bag. He thought somebody is not got, maybe the Sevadar has not done a good job. So he went behind Swami to see where Swami is going to. Swami went all the way in the corner of the hall, and there was an old man. And Swami, with full joy, he said, "This is for you, I came to give it to you specially." And Professor Anil Kumar said, "That Swami, you could have given it to me. Why did you take the trouble all the way of coming there?" Swami said, "Do you know who he is?" He said, "No, Swami." Swami said, "He is my school friend, Satyanarayana. His name also is Satyanarayana. And doesn't friendship demand that I myself give this prasadam to my friend? So I have come all the way here to give it to him." And Professor Anil Kumar said, that day I realized what a real friend, what a true friend Swami is. 50 years later, he remembers his school friend, sees him in the corner of the hall there in Purnachandra, comes with a bag of clothes which was distributed as prasadam and gives to them and said, "Do you remember me? We studied in school together." That is what true friendship is. That is what Swami exemplified in his life. A third facet of Swami's life we now move to is Swami as an ideal leader. There are theories and so many more theories about what leadership is. Whether it's the best of the business schools in India or the US or Europe, lots and lots of theories have been placed before us of what real leadership is. But when Swami propounded his model of leadership, he turned all these theories upside down and started with a totally reverse way of doing what true leadership ought to do. And he gave what is called the Mahavakya of leadership. And that is to be, to do, to see, and to tell. Most of the leadership theories start with delegation of work. In fact, one of the standard definitions of management is the art of getting things done through others. That's how definition of management is. I remember in college, we studied Mary Parker Follett's definition, that management is the art of getting done through others. Here Swami started the other way around. He said to be, to do, to see, to tell. First you be yourself, you be capable enough to execute the task. Then you do it yourself and show how it ought to be done. Then to see how the output and outcome of that task which you have done, whether it's achieving the objective for which it was meant to achieve. And then Swami said, to tell is actually not necessary. Telling is superfluous. a real leader through his task and activity would have been so inspirational that people would have automatically understood what he wishes to communicate. So there is no need to tell. Whereas all the time management theory says you need to keep reinforcing, you need to keep telling. Swami said no need to tell. Doing. You do yourself, be a good sevak, be a good servant, and only a good sevak, a good servant can be a good nayak, a good leader. That is the philosophy of leadership that Swami put before all of us. And how did he execute it? He executed it by his actions again. So I have a couple of examples of how Swami executed management in real life in his institutions. The first part I thought I will share is event management. There are so many events happening in Prashant Lim, in Vrindavan, and all the Sai organization activities. So how did Swami manage events? So you may have heard of this incident, but it's really interesting and humorous. So I thought I should share with you. This happened with Professor Anil Kumar when he was principal of the Vrindavan campus. So the summer course was started afresh after a gap of 11 years in 1990 in the Vrindavan campus. The summer course in Indian culture and spirituality was an annual program where there used to be talks by experts in various fields of normal life, professions, lawyers, doctors, business managers, bureaucrats, all of the best in the field coming and sharing their experiences of how Indian culture, spirituality and values have helped them excel in their field. Every evening Swami used to give discourses to students. This used to be held, the morning program used to be held in the Vrindavan campus auditorium. So all the auditorium was done up, the chairs were all supposed to be repaired if required, everything was ready, etc. Everything was ready. And Professor Anil Kumar, who was the principal of the campus, he checked up whether everything was ready. He said, yes Swami, everything is ready. So Swami said, he found out from his people, he said yes, so he went and communicated to Swami in Vrindavan, Swami, everything is ready. Swami said, is it everything is ready? He said, yes Swami. Then immediately Swami said, okay, let's go and see. So Professor Anil Kumar, Swami and the car from Vrindavan, Trai Vrindavan moved out and went all the way to the Vrindavan auditorium, which is about half a kilometer on the other side. And Swami went there at the auditorium, stood here at the entrance of the auditorium. There the whole auditorium is seen, capacity of about 1,000 students to sit and faculty members. So Swami said, okay Anil Kumar, now go to the 13th row and from there go to the 8th seat and just check if it is fine or not. So Professor Anil Kumar went and started counting 1, 2, he himself has narrated this experience to us, so I know. He started 1, 2 till 13, then he went inside, went to the 8th seat, and then he just wanted to see whether the seat is fine or not. When he just held the seat in his hand, the whole seat came off in his hand, and he actually showed that lifted seat in his hand that it wasn't fine, it was actually the screws had come out. The Swami from a distance started laughing, and Professor Anil Kumar had a very, very pitiable face. And he came near Swami and he said, Swami, you only must have done something to make this seat loose, because everything was fine, that was what was told to me. Swami said, that was told to you, but did you yourself check? You have to check yourself, because you are the principal of the campus and it is your job to ensure that everything is fine. I did this to show to you that there can be glitches and hitches many times unknown to you, and people say it's done, it's over, and you will come and tell me it is over. I wanted to tell you it is not over till you yourself have verified that it is over. Talking about Professor Anil Kumar and his humorous experiences, I must share this, though it's not directly related to Swami as an ideal leader, but how Swami jokes around with his devotees to communicate important lessons and yet reveal his omniscience. So Professor Anil Kumar was staying in the staff quarters, which was just next to the Vrindavan campus on the other side of Trai Vrindavan. And the students were staying in the hostel in this side of Trai Vrindavan. Swami's residence is in the center. So Swami was leaving that day from Vrindavan to Prashant Nilayam. And all the students used to come there in Vrindavan, Trai Vrindavan outside, stand, wait for Swami to leave, and Swami used to bless them and wave at them, and the car used to then slowly leave. The ladies used to do aarti and all of that. So Professor Anil Kumar knew Swami is going to leave at 2 o'clock. So he said, I'll have lunch and then go for darshan. I'll have my lunch and get ready and go for darshan. So he put the rice in the pressure cooker for cooking, and then he was waiting. Once rice is ready, I will go for darshan. Once rice is ready, I will go for darshan. He kept on waiting, kept on waiting. The rice is not getting cooked, the rice is not getting cooked. What is happening? It became 1:45. He went to Trai Vrindavan not having lunch for gaining Swami's blessings before Swami leaves for Prashantin. So in the midst of all of that, Swami is blessing students, some lady devotees are in tears, some students are giving letters and all of that. In the middle of all of that, Swami passes by Professor Anil Kumar and asks him, "Did you have your lunch?" So Professor Anil Kumar is looking with a blank face at Swami as to what answer he should give. So he said, "No, Swami." Then Swami said, he whispered into his ears and said, "How will the rice get cooked? You have not put the whistle on top of the pressure cooker." Then it struck Professor Anil Kumar that he had not put the whistle on top of the pressure cooker because he was cooking for the first time some rice for himself. And then it struck to him that sitting in Trai Vrindavan, half a kilometer away in the staff quarter, Swami could realize and see that this rice is not getting cooked because the pressure cooker whistle is not there on the pressure cooker. So that is how Swami works. He works for the Iha and Para, the here and hereafter of each one of us. So we usually, most of our teachers always used to say that when Swami used to talk to them something, people used to think, oh, Swami is imparting the Brahma Jnana in his conversations. Professor Anil Kumar always used to joke, he said it is not Brahma Jnana, it is usually a whole lot of punishments and scoldings that we get for the lack of performance in the college, hostel and mandir based on the tasks that Swami has put before us. We are usually getting a lot of spankings there. That's the way Swami's leadership model was. On another occasion, Swami gave a discourse. He asked one of the senior devotees who used to sit on the bench at the end of Prashantilim. You remember there are benches there of stones, and he went there and asked one of them, how was the discourse? So he said, Swami, I wasn't able to hear the discourse. There is not much clarity in the speakers. So Swami got that feedback. Next day morning, when Swami came for bhajan, came for darshan, music was on. Swami came walking from Purnachandra. He went to the ladies' side, went all the way to the Rama statue side, came back, went to the gents' side, went this side, went near the shutters, took the whole round, looking here and there, smiling at devotees, accepting letters. Actually, he had gone around seeing where the speakers are not giving clear sound, where it is not audible because the music was going on for the darshan. He came near the bhajan hall door where the people who run the music system sit, and he came and said that there are some parts of the hall where the music or the voice is not clearly audible. Somebody told me yesterday, I myself have checked today, you all can now check and rectify. That is what an ideal leader should be doing. And that is how Swami used to do it himself. We have these sports meet functions, grand functions on the 11th of January in the Hillview Stadium. And what happens after every successful function, when it is to be set up, we do it with a lot of enthusiasm. When it is to be wound up, most of the people leave. A few of them who are staying back do it. This is human nature everywhere. And same used to happen in Prashantilim. After the function is over, everybody used to run to Mandir for darshan. And whatever the sets and the props and everything that was there at the ground was left as it is. Because Swami used to give photographs, Swami used to give some kind of interactions. So everybody wanted to benefit from that opportunity. One fine sports meet final day, after the whole thing was over, everybody ran to the Mandir. And Swami came out in car from Mandir directly to the Hillview Stadium. Nobody was there. Everything was lying in a mess. Nobody had wound up because everybody ran away to the Mandir. And Swami saw that, came back, called the senior team who was organizing, and really gave them a nice dressing down, saying that is this the way you conduct events? For setting up the event in front of me, everybody is ready to work. At the end of the event, when you have to wind up, you just leave it like that for 2 days, 3 days, God knows how many days. If it rains, what will happen to the props? If anything is stolen, whose loss it will be? And if people come and see that this is where Swami's organization works, nobody winds up the program after the completion of the event, is it correct? And from that time onwards, there was a separate winding up team which was formed in the university, which used to do the exclusive task of winding up the program after Swami left and not go for darshan till everything is in order. I was also part of that for the stage arrangements in which I used to be involved. We used to ensure that first thing is you wind up everything, put it in tractors, deposit it at the right place, and then only go to mandir or go back to hostel. That is how Swami showed leadership in action. Hospitality management, right? Another important thing in management. How should we take care of guests? And there was an occasion in 1987 when we had the first Vice Chancellors Conference in Prashantinle, and we had Vice Chancellors from across India coming in to participate in that. Vice Chancellors in India are equivalent to presidents of universities in the US. They are the head of the institution. So they were all coming from about 50 institutions, 50 universities in India to participate in that. And Swami gave the responsibility of taking care of the hospitality of these people to the students. Usually what do? We engage people to execute such tasks. Swami always used to give the responsibility to students because he always looked at it as a wonderful opportunity to train them in something new and also to expose them to a new set of people whom they can interact with, learn from, and those people in turn can have an opportunity to ask questions and know what the first-hand experience of the student has been. So there is a 3-in-1 kind of a plan which Swami has whenever he did this. So in that particular occasion, when they had these Vice Chancellors coming in, Swami went to the place where these people were supposed to be hosted. He personally showed to the boys how bed sheets should be laid on the bed, how the blanket should be folded, how the pillow should be placed in a particular occasion, how the bathroom should be, how you should check 3 or 4 items in the bathroom when you want to see whether the bathroom is working or not. You must press the flush, you must see the shower is working, you must check the basin, you must see whether there is a towel and there is a soap there. These are some basic checklists which we today talk about in management jargon in our workplaces. Swami showed to the students personally what these checklists constitute and how they should actually be done by action. So you can imagine Swami putting up a bed sheet on a bed to show to students how they should be done. On another occasion, the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Vajpayee, was to come to Prashantinle. Swami had come, he had usually monitored himself whether all arrangements are fine or not. After going back to Purnachandra Auditorium residence, Swami used to stay upstairs that time in Purnachandra. Swami sent a message. I forgot to tell you, after checking everything, I realized that in the bathroom there is no air freshener. Please put up an air freshener in the bathroom for the Prime Minister of India. That is the kind of eye for detail that Swami used to practice and show in his actions as to how an activity should be done, right? And along with hospitality management, when you are a host, you have opportunities to be the guest. And we've heard lots and lots of stories how Swami was an ideal guest. And one very nice experience that I remember was narrated by Srimati Geetaram from US itself. And she shared how when Swami had once come to their house, he's come a couple of times, but one particular incident she has narrated, I remember. How when Swami had come to their house, Swami, in the room which Swami had stayed in, she had gone next day morning to see what all Swami had used of all the things that they had arranged in the room. She said that she found at the end of the visit to that room that the bed was the way it was, which the flower next to it. The blanket was put back the way it was. The bathroom was the way it was set for Swami after Swami had had his bath. So much so that Swami had taken the towel after which he had wiped himself. He had taken the towel and cleaned the water on the floor so that when the next person comes in, he does not have water so that there are footmarks in the bathroom. That is the kind of ideal guest behavior that Swami displayed in his own example, through his own example when he visited devotees' houses. He always used to, anybody, if you imagine Swami coming to your house and what we would do for Swami if he comes to our house. So her mother asked Swami, what time should we serve breakfast? So Swami said, any time is fine for me, whatever time you have. So she said, no Swami, whatever time you want we will arrange. Swami said, no, I know 9 o'clock you all have your breakfast, I will be ready at 9. And then Srimati Geetaram narrates, exactly at 9 o'clock, the door of Swami's room, tuck, that noise came and the door opened, and at 9 o'clock Swami came out from his room to have breakfast. That is the kind of exemplary behavior a guest should show when he goes to someone's house. Micromanagement is another concept which is very popular. An eye for detail. Whatever happens, you should do it yourself. You should ensure that the smallest details are taken care of. There was this worker in the Vrindavan campus of our university who used to take care of the gardening requirements of the campus. And his daughter was going to get married. So he wanted to give that card to Swami, the marriage invitation card. So he had requested through the warden that I wish to give the card. Please ask Swami where I can stand so that Swami can accept my card more conveniently. So he was told a particular location. There is one elephant corner in the Vrindavan hostel where there is an elephant at the base of the building. It appears that the elephant is taking care of the building by supporting it on its back. There is a double meaning to that. The elephant is taking care of the building by taking the weight on its back. It is as false as the vision that it is the foundation of the building which is taking care of the building and not the elephant which is seen outside. Just like in our life, so many things we see, we feel that it is happening because of this. It is not because of the seen, but because of the unseen that most of the things happen in our life. Coming back to the original story, so this lady was standing near the elephant corner and she wanted to give the invitation card to Swami. So at a particular darshan time, Swami came and then he gave darshan, and without seeing this man, Swami went back to Trai Vrindavan. And when he went back to Trai Vrindavan, this man was so sad, inconsolable. All sorts of thoughts came into his mind. Oh, because I am a small man. Oh, because Swami is too busy. Oh, because I may belong to a lower caste, etc., etc. All kind of thoughts came in his mind that why Swami did not accept his invitation. The clock ticked 9 o'clock and Swami comes back again from Trai Vrindavan straight to this man who was still standing with tears in his eyes at the elephant corner of the hostel. And then Swami told him, Chudu, see, between 7:30 and 9 is Rahu Kalam on Monday, isn't it? How can I accept your daughter's card during Rahu Kalam? So I was waiting for Rahu Kalam to get over so that I could accept your daughter's marriage card. And Swami had a bag in his hand. He had got one expensive Kanjivaram sari as his gift to the daughter of that worker who was going to perform the marriage of his daughter from his side. Said, see, I went inside, waited for 9 o'clock to give this sari to you for your daughter and also to take the marriage invitation card. Please convey my blessings on her. He put akshatas on the invitation card on the head of that worker and said, please convey my blessings to her. I am very, very, very happy. That is the kind of importance Swami used to give to the simplest of member of his organization. Once Swami used to ask Anil Kumar sir, we worked a lot with him, so I always get reminded of some humorous incident or the other. Swami there were a lot of saris there, and Swami said, I have to give this to XYZ, his daughter's marriage is there. Incidentally, that person happened to be from the worker class, not somebody senior. So Professor Anil Kumar sir said, Swami, why are you giving such expensive saris? They may not even have seen such saris. They don't expect it also. So Swami told Professor Anil Kumar, what goes of your grandfather if I give these saris to them? Why are you feeling jealous? He said. Swami said, if they get such saris, they can show with so much of joy that the master in whose institution I am working, with so much of happiness, he has gifted it to me, my daughter and my wife for this special function. They will remember for their lifetime the grace of Swami on their family and use it with so much of joy. That is why I am giving these expensive saris to them, to give them joy which they have not otherwise experienced. That is the kind for eye for detail that Swami used to have. We move to the next part, and this is Swami's role as a mother and father to his own children, his own students. In the same discourse which was shown on Radio Sai, Swami mentioned at the end of the discourse everything he said, and he said, these, my only property are the college students, Swami said. Now this sentence itself is very loaded. College students has two meanings. One meaning is that yes, those who are actually studying in his college are his college students. The other meaning is, many times Swami has communicated in Trai Vrindavan, Just by being a member or a student of my college does not mean that you are my college student. My college student means those who have reached the level of spiritual awareness that they are in the college level, not in the primary school level and the secondary school level, but the college level of spirituality. They are my college students, those who follow my message, those who practice my teachings. That is what college student means. So all of us, or most of us, are eligible to be qualified, and when Swami says, these my biggest property are my college students. But for now, I will limit it to the definition of what typical college student stands for, those who are studying in Swami's institution. So, we'll start with a personal experience. In 2005 January, I had in one of the sports meet, I was given the job of coordinating one event, and after the event I was supposed to wind up so that the next event can start. So that winding up required that on the height of about 7 or 8 feet, about this height, the stage was set in the middle of the Hillview Stadium, and that bed sheet was to be spread, a bigger sheet was to be spread on that. And I was straightening that sheet, and I didn't see the edge of the table, and I fell down from the table and injured my back. I fell down on the ground, and then I walked from there to the stage, and I stood there. I got some bruises, I was bleeding. Somehow I could manage. And just when I fell down, the music started, the program began. So my classmates were actually joking, oh, so you were the coconut for the program. You fell down and the program started. I went to the stage, I felt very sick after that for 2 weeks. I wasn't able to go for darshan. And it was the 26th of January. And there was flag hoisting in the college, but I didn't have the strength to go for that. And I was waiting for the evening time to go for darshan after a long time. And I somehow managed to go to Mandir. I was sitting way behind in the 10th row. And I was also unwell, I had a lot of cough and cold, and I was coughing all the time. Then Swami came for darshan, sat there, and then he called me from the 10th row. So I went from the 10th row to Swami, and he said, where is the letter? I had written a letter of gratitude because when the doctor examined me, he said that only Swami's grace has saved you, because if the injury just a millimeter or two here or there, it would have injured either your spine or your head on either of the sides. So Swami only has saved you. So I had written a letter of gratitude. So Swami called me and he said, where is the letter? So the letter I had written, and it was in my book, since I couldn't give it to Swami because I wasn't able to come to Mandir since many days. So I gave the letter. Swami said, now go and get it. I know there is a letter in your book. So go and get it. Now Swami didn't see me falling. When I saw the video also, when I fell down, Swami was looking in the other direction. So Swami didn't see me falling, nor did I ever mention to Swami physically that Swami, I have fallen down. I just written the letter and kept it in my book. Swami said, get the letter. I got the letter, went back, I gave the letter to Swami. Then Swami said, will you talk today? I said, yes Swami, I will talk. He said, okay, talk for a long time. I wasn't able to just talk, forget giving a talk, I was coughing. Swami said, talk for a long time. Talk about Shirdi Baba, talk about me, talk for a long time. I said, okay Swami, should I go now? He said, no, wait, I will call you. So he made me go and sit back, and there was 2 other speeches. And after about 40 minutes, Swami, I thought it was time up, maybe Swami didn't want me to speak that day. He called me, he said, okay, start. So I started speaking. And just as mentally, whatever I could plan in those 40 minutes for a 25-30 minute speech, I planned. When I was at the end of the last idea, I was just thinking, now what next I will speak, and from that side, Swami said, Chalu, stop, enough. And then I looked at Swami, I said, mentally I said, thank you, I anyway didn't have anything else to speak. Then I went near Swami, and then he waved his hand, and he materialized a green ring for me, and he put it on my finger. The story doesn't end there. He didn't say anything, I didn't say anything, no other communication. That night, I had a dream. I was not well, I was lying down in my bed. And because I was unwell for many days, there was a lot of things which were not clean in my room. And Swami came into that room, along with a couple of devotees behind him. He came near my place. He said, Chi, this is so dirty, you have not cleaned your place in such a long time. But I was lying down and I couldn't get up. So Swami literally, I can still feel that jerk. He literally lifted me up in my sleep, and then he put his hand on my head. He said, have a long life, healthy life, happy life, spiritually blessed life, Swami said. So that is how Swami's relationship has been with each of his students. Something happens somewhere, and devotees also, something happens somewhere, you communicate something to Swami in your mind, you write a letter which you never give it to him, he responds to you something physically, and at the end of the event, you exactly get the message where the whole jigsaw puzzle fit, and how he has actually blessed you and helped you come out of something which you never even had imagined. Another experience of Swami's love for his students. This happened in the 1970s in the Vrindavan campus. Students have a tendency to experiment. We all have in our youth. So one of the students got this great desire to drive Swami's Impala car. And he somehow got hold of the keys, because students had a lot of access that time to Swami's physical surroundings and everything. So he got hold of Swami's keys, and he thought that let me just have a short drive while Swami gives darshan. And there's a real story which is narrated by one of my senior teachers. And he put on the ignition of the car. But he did not realize that the car was in gear. In India it is a manual gear, it's not the P and the D and the R of the automatic system here. So he did not realize that the car is in gear. So in the car being in the first gear, he put on the ignition and the car banged into the garage door and it damaged the front part of the Impala car. Swami's Impala car. This boy realized finished. He first went to the hostel and packed his bags, all of them, because he knew it's time to go home. He didn't even expect that there will be any other opportunity ever given to him, because he had done not one but 3 mistakes, and you know which 3. And the outcome of that experiment was that Swami's Impala car was damaged. So he stopped going for darshan for the next 2-3 days. And Swami was observing that somebody has damaged his Impala car and somebody is not coming for darshan. So Swami asked the warden, why that boy is not coming for darshan? So the warden went and told him, see, I think Swami has come to know that you are the culprit. So you better pack up first and then go, because I don't foresee any other alternative for you. I don't think parents also will be called this time. Usually parents are called, you get first warning. That's the typical kind of a discipline related system. So he said, okay sir, I will go to Mandir. He packed his bag, kept everything ready, went to Mandir to apologize to Swami, and he thought that Swami will really shout at him and send it out. Swami said, why are you not coming for darshan for the last 3 days? He had no answer. Then Swami said, do you think that Impala car is more valuable to me than you are? Then Swami said, you are more valuable to me than the Impala car. You should not distance yourself from Swami. I am not angry or upset with you. You shouldn't have done that, but that doesn't mean that you stop coming for darshan. Go unpack your bags, join the hostel, and better come for darshan next time. And don't touch my car keys again. So that is the kind of mother-father relationship that Swami has had with most of his students. Of course, as time passed, he slowly withdrew. Another short incident was another experience of Swami's love for his students. This happened in the 1970s in the Vrindavan campus. Students have a tendency to experiment. We all have in our youth. So one of the students got this great desire to drive Swami's Impala car. And he somehow got hold of the keys, because students had a lot of access that time to Swami's physical surroundings and everything. So he got hold of Swami's keys, and he thought that let me just have a short drive while Swami gives darshan. And there's a real story which is narrated by one of my senior teachers. And he put on the ignition of the car. But he did not realize that the car was in gear. In India it is a manual gear, it's not the P and the D and the R of the automatic system here. So he did not realize that the car is in gear. So in the car being in the first gear, he put on the ignition and the car banged into the garage door and it damaged the front part of the Impala car. Swami's Impala car. This boy realized finished. He first went to the hostel and packed his bags, all of them, because he knew it's time to go home. He didn't even expect that there will be any other opportunity ever given to him, because he had done not one but 3 mistakes, and you know which 3. And the outcome of that experiment was that Swami's Impala car was damaged. So he stopped going for darshan for the next 2-3 days. And Swami was observing that somebody has damaged his Impala car and somebody is not coming for darshan. So Swami asked the warden, why that boy is not coming for darshan? So the warden went and told him, see, I think Swami has come to know that you are the culprit. So you better pack up first and then go, because I don't foresee any other alternative for you. I don't think parents also will be called the same. Usually parents are called, you get first warning. That's a typical kind of a discipline related system. So he said, okay sir, I will go to Mandir. He packed his bag, kept everything ready, went to Mandir to apologize to Swami, and he thought that Swami will really shout at him and send it out. Swami said, why are you not coming for darshan for the last 3 days? He had no answer. Then Swami said, do you think that Impala car is more valuable to me than you are? Then Swami said, you are more valuable to me than the Impala car. You should not distance yourself from Swami. I am not angry or upset with you. You shouldn't have done that, but that doesn't mean that you stop coming for darshan. Go unpack your bags, join the hostel, and better come for darshan next time. And don't touch my car, please. So that is the kind of mother-father relationship that Swami has had with most of his students. Of course, as time passed, he slowly withdrew. Another short incident was about band students. We have a brass band, university brass band, which is one of the most popular ones, and it's supposed to be among the top 3 in the country after the government military bands as a student band. And this was the first time, I think in 1960, when Swami had new dresses stitched for all the boys. So he called them to Purnachandra, he called a tailor, he got them measured and all, and then the new dresses came. The new dresses came in. He again called all of them to try them on to see whether the fitting is fine or not. So he said, you try, I'll come after some time. He came back after 15 minutes, all the boys were dressed in the new band dresses. And then this Sanjay Sahni sir has narrated, he was a part of that group. He's currently the principal of the Vrindavan campus. So he was also a band boy in 1985. So Swami said, okay, very good, very happy. But boys didn't want to lose the opportunity. They said, Swami, we want Pad Namaskar. So anytime you do something new or you do something good, you want Pad Namaskar. So Swami said, no, how can I give Pad Namaskar? New dress, white dress. If you take Pad Namaskar, this is all dirty here. Swami will always find ways to escape from the opportunity of giving Pad Namaskar. So there is some kind of bargaining between the devotee and the master, between the mother and his children. So boy said, no Swami, we want. He said, no, I will not give my new dresses. My new dresses will get spoiled because I have got them stitched for you. So that went on. Then after some time Swami got upset, he walked away, went on to the Purnachandra stage. So boys thought, oh, Swami is very upset because they didn't listen to him. So Swami is going away. So Swami went on to the Purnachandra stage and stood there at the top of the stage. And then boys were just looking at Swami thinking that now he will go off with an angry face. So Swami said, what happened? Come. So the boys ran there thinking that, oh, Swami has forgiven them. Then he said, take. So then boys were wondering, take what, come where? Then Swami said, till now you are pestering my Pad Namaskar so that your dresses don't get bad. I have climbed the Purnachandra stage so you can get standing Pad Namaskar. Now when I am offering them to you, you are not taking them, you are looking at my face. Then boys realized that Swami went to the stage so that they can get standing Pad Namaskar. Their desire also is fulfilled and their clothes also don't get dirty. That is the kind of relationship as a mother and father Swami shared with each one of his students to nurture in them that feeling that he is one among them, he is theirs, and yet he wants them to reach a level which is far beyond their current comfort zone. One another experience from my end as far as the mother and father aspect of Swami is concerned. We usually give our first stipend or salary to our parents. That's the tradition in India. And I thought that when I got my first stipend, I should give it to Swami. So I quickly wrote a letter and put the money in that, and then went to Swami's residence in Yajur Mandiram and handed over the letter to Brother Satyajit and said that this is my letter of gratitude to Swami. I didn't mention the contents. I said this is a letter of gratitude to Swami. Please hand it over to Swami, because we had permission. Some of us I had the opportunity, permission to hand over any important letters to Swami in terms of communicating anything official. I said, this is my gratitude letter because Swami had blessed me to join PhD recently. So this is my letter of gratitude. I just said that. In my heart of hearts, I was just worried. I have included a letter of gratitude. I have also included the stipend of gratitude inside. And Swami is very particular about money matters. He will never accept anything from students. But I thought because this is a stipend, Swami may consider accepting it. So I was just praying, Swami, if you don't want to accept, don't accept. Return the money back. But don't shout at me, don't get angry at me. Because it is possible you will get upset and then I will really, really lose the proximity that I currently am blessed with. So with that prayer, I came and sat behind in the bhajan hall, 10th row, 12th row. Swami came for darshan. This was 2007 April. Swami came for darshan. He had given that letter to Mr. Chakravarti. He finished darshan, he came to the interview room, he took the letter back from Mr. Chakravarti, came inside the bhajan hall, and then with the letter in his hand, he is calling out my name. Shashank Shah, Shashank Shah, like he is taking attendance. So I was sitting in the 10th row, I said, finished, gone. Letter, name, proof, everything is there. So he called me to come near him, he was sitting in the chair. So he said, did you give this letter? I said, yes, Swami. Then there was money inside. So he pulled out the money from that letter and he counted the notes which I had given. And he actually literally counted 1, 2, 3, whatever. And then he put those in my pocket. And he said, don't give money like this. This is not my money. This is university money. University is giving you for your boarding and lodging, Swami said. For your boarding and lodging, the university is giving this money, so don't give it to me. You use it. If you want more, you tell me, I will give you more. But don't give me money. And I said, okay, Swami. I said, this is fine. I said, mentally, no problem. He didn't get angry. He returned it. Fine. At least I got an opportunity to give it to Swami and go close enough. It did end there. I was folding my hands like this. So there was this ring which Swami had given. And I put another ring in front because it is little loose. So Swami said, what is this? I said, Swami, this is another ring because this ring is loose. So I said, he said, oh, loose is it? I said, yes, Swami. So that before he completed that loose, he waved his hand and then materialized another ring, this one, and put it on this finger. And then he said, see, this is not loose, this is correct size, he said. And he put his hand on my head and then he moved away. And then my friends were teasing me that you gave stipend, you not only got stipend back, you got diamond ring in exchange. As you have never seen such an offer. You give stipend to God, you get stipend back along with a diamond ring. It's not what we have given Swami, it's the feeling with which we have given. And he reciprocates that feeling with which we have given many, many times more, because just like a mother is so happy and proud that the small kid in the family has done so much, Swami is happy that his children are growing up and are having that feeling of love, that bonding with Swami. I move to the last part of my presentation, which is about Swami as a world teacher. We move on to some serious things now, and Swami as a world teacher. And what is Swami's message? What is so unique that Swami has done? By the way, just to conclude the previous part, what Swami has shown as a mother and father for his students, and all these interesting, humorous, loving, touching incidents that we listen so very often from Swami's students, is actually a message to each one of us as to how we should take care of our children. What kind of responsibility do we as parents have towards our children? How we should blend discipline with love and not misunderstand love or lack of discipline, and not nurture our students in the environment that Swami expects us. That is what Swami has shown in his lifetime. Swami always used to say, your children have not come from you, they have come through you. And it is your responsibility to take care of them in a way that they will be good human beings and good citizens in this world and do good to society. That is the day when you are bearing a son or a daughter, is a day of celebration. Not just by giving birth, there is nothing big in that, Swami always used to say. So we move to this part where Swami, as a world teacher, what is it that Swami has done so uniquely which hadn't happened earlier in the history of contemporary history of mankind's evolution. First of all, Swami has given some simple maxims which contain in them sublime truths. It takes a lifetime to understand what it means, but Swami has just given it to us like it is so easy to practice, yet we are expected to contemplate and internalize it. A simple example is the maxim, help ever, hurt never. It is said that this is the essence of the 18 Puranas which Vyasa had written. What is that? Help ever, hurt never. We usually think it is so easy, help ever, hurt never. It took me almost 10 years of my stay in Prashanthalam to realize that help ever, hurt never is not just help ever, hurt never, it is help ever and hurt never. It means that every opportunity we get to help, we must help. And every opportunity we get to settle our scores, to explain to the other person by our actions that we are hurt and so we are hurting back, you should never do that. That is what help ever, hurt never means. Similarly, the end of education is character. Such a simple maxim, it combines in it the essence of the entire Shiksha Valli of the Taittiriya Upanishad, which gives a list of do's and don'ts to the students at the time of their graduation. What is it that they are expected to do when they go out? If you read the translation of that, you understand that it culminates in this one word, which is character. The end of education is character, is not as easy as it appears. It is a loaded statement with such sublime truths incorporated in that. Once Swami called me for giving a speech and Vedam chanting was going on. So Swami asked, what are they chanting? So I just paused for 2 seconds to hear what they are chanting. And then I said, Swami, they are chanting Brahmananda Valli. That's a verse in the Taittiriya Upanishad. So immediately with a twinkle in his eyes, Swami said, Brahmananda Valli or Atmananda Valli? That's all he said, smiling at me. Even today, with that one comparison, Swami communicated to me through that Atma is Brahma and Brahma is Atma. If you want to experience the Ananda which is supposed to be given by the experience of the Brahman, it will start with your journey from the Atma. Once I was showing Swami the My Dear Students series of books which we have compiled through the hostel, which is discourses of students given by Swami to students. So the 4th volume, we were thinking whether to include a particular discourse or not. I got the first bell has rung in the class. So in that, there was a discourse of the 4 Mahavakyas. Tattvamasi, I am Atma Brahma, those 4 great Vedic dicta which the Sanatana Dharma puts forth before the members of the Sanatana Dharma fraternity. And there, we were thinking whether we should put this or not, whether it will be useful or not. It's too heavy. It's too evolved for students to understand. And Swami, we then finally thought, if Swami has given it for the students, let's go ahead, because it is for some purpose. So we finished the book, included the discourse as the last discourse, and we went to Swami for getting the book blessed. And when Swami opened the book, he went straight to the last discourse, which was this one, which was in double mind whether to include it or not. And then Swami actually went through each of those 4 maxims, made me repeat it, and sort of initiated me into it that this is what I want you all to know. This is the essence of my message. It is never too early or too late to explore and understand the truths of the scriptures. So Swami has made the highest truths available in such simple maxims. The whole responsibility is ours in order to execute. What is it that Swami has done in order to communicate to the world about what the world at large should be doing? I hope I am able to match with the musical tunes which are coming from the other side, the Bollywood tunes of modern times. I'll try my best. So the first is unifying the teachings of world religions. Everybody talks about the differences which are there in world religions. Swami united the essence of all religions. He compared the 3 stages of Sanatana Dharma, Dvaita, Vishishta Advaita and Advaita with the three stages of the evolution of Christ. I am the messenger of God, Dvaita. I am the son of God, Vishishta Advaita. I and my father are one, Advaita. This is how Swami said that there is no difference. The paths are different, the destination is one. Islam, it starts with the light is in me. That's what the Muhammad's journey was. Then I am in the light. And finally the light and I are one. These are the three stages of evolution of Muhammad, the three stages of evolution of Christ, and the three stages of evolution as described in the Sanatana Dharma are the same. There is no difference. The difference is only of a context and a geography, not of the message. Swami has put forth such an important message for the unity of world religions. The second one, Swami, there were some senior devotees when Swami was starting the free super specialty hospitals. Swami said, they said, Swami, why don't we follow the cross-subsidization model? Those who can afford will pay, and those who can't afford will give them free. That happens in most of the hospitals. It's a successful model. Many hospitals have been able to sustain that way. Immediately Swami said, I am not giving healthcare and education free because people cannot afford it. I am giving healthcare and education free because they are not tradable commodities. Knowledge and healing are gifts of God. They are incidentally delivered by teachers and doctors. It is God who teaches and God who heals. It is only the teacher and the doctor who is the intermediary or the medium to health, and that is not tradable. Hence, health and education should be given free. The entire problems with modern society, whether in the East or the West, is because these two are so expensive at the time of education and execution that the whole effort of man is surrounded on how he is to surmount it, recover his expenses on education, and then make more money so that when he grows old, he can pay back the health care. If the education at the beginning and the health care at the end can be made free, man's life can be focused on more noble ventures and not on earning to learn and then spending to live. This is the essence of Swami's message with respect to Vidya and Vaidya. And about service, we are all a part of the Satyasai Seva organization. But this non-governmental, non-profit, civil society, whatever name you wish to give, this organization does service like many other organizations. But there is a difference in the service that Swami expects us to do. Your service is not an act of favor or charity on the beneficiary. The service is a favor and act of charity on the person who is doing it, because he is getting an opportunity to better himself or herself by doing that service activity. Swami said, you don't need to serve anybody. I will take care of them. You are not required. Who feeds water to the plants weighing the rocks? Who gives life to the frog in the well when you have no access, and to the distant species in the Arctic and Antarctic? You are not required. I can anyway do it. You are serving so that you can better yourself through that act of service. It is for self-perfection leading to self-realization. That is the purpose of service which Swami has highlighted through his life, through our organization. The last part which I wanted to talk about was how Swami has redefined spirituality. We always thought spirituality was about doing rituals in temples, in mosques, in churches, gurudwaras, derasars, and all other places of worship. Swami has redefined spirituality from rituals to doing spirit plus rituals. Doing the rituals with full understanding of the spirit behind. Why are we doing bhajans? Why are we doing seva? Why are we doing any act like shaving our head or giving money for a particular cause? Each aspect of that Swami has explained. You go to Tirupati and give your hair not because Lord Venkateshwara wants your hair. He has lot of it. He can give you as much as you want. He doesn't need your dirty hair, Swami said. The giving of hair there is symbolic of giving up your negative qualities. That is what God is ready to accept with His hands. You give me your negative qualities and I will give you grace to rise above in your spiritual life. That is the meaning of these two Abhayastas. What Venkateshwara and all deities are communicating. This is the message which Swami has communicated through spiritual. Everything is divine. The Sanatana Dharma says, Neti, Neti, not this, not this. What is God? Not this, not this, not this. Then what is He? He's not this mic, He's not this light, He's not this chair, He's something else. Swami modified Neti, Neti and redefined it as Not only this, not only this. He is not only the mind, not only the light, not only the chair. He is that and everything else. Everything is God. And not only is everything God, we are ourselves embodiments of divine. And that's why Swami used to address us as embodiments of divine. And what did Swami say about that? He said, you are not human beings working towards a spiritual destiny. You are spiritual beings leading a human existence. Realize that and act in accordance. That's why Swami used to say, I and you are one. There is no difference between you and me. Because I am divine and so are you. I am telling you, experience it, realize it and become divine. Swami always used to talk about spiritualizing our daily life. There was one teacher in our university, and it's a famous incident. Brother Siddesh will recollect. It was shared when he was also in class. And that particular teacher he had come to Prashanthi Nilayam to do sadhana, but because Swami had given him the job of a statistics teacher, he wanted to give up that job and go to the Himalayas and do sadhana. And he went and gave his resignation letter to the principal that I want to leave, I want to do sadhana, I can't do sadhana here. He said, at least take Swami's permission. He said, no, I have decided I will go. That was a time when the summer course had just got over and Swami was giving interviews to the teachers in the beginning of the new academic year. So Swami called all of the teachers and he said that what is your subject, what are you teaching, how are the boys, etc., etc. Then all of a sudden he started talking about life and the purpose of being in Prashanthi Nilayam and all of that. Then he looked at this teacher and he said, why are you here? What are you doing? He said, Swami, I want to do sadhana. I am not able to do sadhana here, so I am leaving and going. He said, where do you want to go? He said, Swami, I will go to the Himalayas and do my sadhana. Immediately Swami's face turned serious and he said, if you separate daily life and spiritual life for 1,000 births also, I will not give you what you want. The statistics teacher immediately calculated in his mind, average life of 75 years into 1,000 births, self-realization postponed by 75,000 years. Immediately got hold of Swami's feet. Swami, please. Swami said, if you separate spiritual life and worldly life, I will not give you what you want. You have to spiritualize your daily life. That is what you have to do. If you are a teacher, be the best teacher because you are doing it for God. If you are a doctor, be the best doctor, you are doing it for God. If you are a lawyer, be the best lawyer because you are doing it for God. The highest spirituality is converting work into worship. When you do every activity as an offering to God, including making chapati in the kitchen of your house, when you are actually going to feed your children, if you say that this is for Swami, it is Swami who will accept it, whoever eats it. That is how we have to spiritualize every day of our life. It's not during bhajans, it is not during soup kitchen, it is not during the morning altar session for half an hour. It is every single moment of our existence that we need to practice spirituality. Last part, I'll just expect 2-3 minutes more. This is about a Mahasamadhi day. There are a lot of misnomers about Swami and how he suddenly and all of a sudden, it's the same thing, all of a sudden he planned to exit this world. I just wanted to share that it was not an all of a sudden plan. Very, very, very divinely Swami planned his exit, and I have been blessed to witness how Swami has so very well planned his exit. It is only we who could not see it. Way back in 1999, during one of the Purnachandra sessions, Swami was talking. Just put up one of our students' blog also. If you have not visited, you must see it. satyasai-students.blogspot.com. It's a blog which students of Swami's University run. Very recently we crossed 1 million visits. It consists of discourses, conversations, experiences of students. So you can have a look at it. In one of the casual Purnachandra conversations, Swami said, towards the end, he said, I don't assure you that I will live up to 96. I can go early also. I can go late also. Don't take me for granted. That's what Swami said. All the students and teachers for the first time were really awoken. They thought, oh, 99, 2022, still so much time is left. All of a sudden Swami said this. 2001 Guru Purnima, if you recollect, all of a sudden Swami stopped giving Pad Namaskars. He said, when I have communicated to you that I and you are one, Where is the question of taking and giving Pad Namaskar? No Pad Namaskar. Worship means like 2002, Swami Guru Purnima, Swami established that statue, Prashantin. If you recollect, that statue, bronze statue, Swami had put in the veranda for about 1 month's time. Prior to that, in Purnachandra, 2 of the old students were cleaning the statue and making it ready for being put in the Prashantin Mandir. So they were looking at the statue and it was a nice statue, so they were smiling and looking at it. Suddenly Swami came from behind. Only those 2 students and Swami was there. So he came from behind and he said, very good. Develop the habit of looking at the statue only now. So these people got surprised. What? Swami, why are you saying like that? Still so much time is there. And Swami said, who said? He said, Swami, you only said that you will stay till 96. And Swami said, who said? And they said, Swami, you only said. Again, 3rd time Swami said, who said? They said, Swami, you said. Then they realized, you said. Swami said, yes, I said. I am only saying get ready to see the statue now. I only said that 96. I am only telling now that be ready to see the statue now and derive joy therefrom. 2003 Guru Purnima, Swami gave a discourse and Swami said, don't focus on the Sai form, focus on the Sai principle, because I am not this body, I am the principle residing in this body. Hold on to that principle. In 2005, Kodaikanal visit, we were blessed to go with Swami. All the devotees were praying to Swami, Swami, stay sometime more, because Swami was in very good mood, very good climate, everything was very nice. So Swami said, they said 15 days, Swami, please stay more. So immediately Swami said, 15 days? Then what about my work? Swami said. We were all wondering what work Swami has to do. Why Swami said, what about my work? 15 days later, when we were already in Vrindavan, that very morning on the 15th day, Swami fell down in front of Tarai Vrindavan and fractured his hand. Then we realized when Swami said, what about my work? His work is not the way we perceive it. His work is in so many ways that he is taking upon himself the problems of so many devotees and of the world at large, which we will never be able to understand. 2007, I was just joining for my PhD and I gave a letter to Swami, Swami, I'm joining for PhD. Swami said, very happy conversation he had with the bhajan all. And then Swami said, how much stipend you get, all of that. Then Swami said, how much time will you take to finish? I said, Swami, 3 years. Swami said, try to finish in 2.5 years. I said, Swami, I will try, with your grace, I will try and finish. Swami said, I am not saying to save stipend. Saving stipend means if you finish past university, doesn't have to pay you. You finished your PhD. I am not telling to save stipend. Try, Swami said. I did try and I finished. And that was the last convocation in which Swami presided as the Chancellor, and I was the last recipient of the PhD degree from Swami's hand. Because 3 years earlier, Swami had said, try and finish in 2.5 years. In 2008 and 2009 during Shivaratri, Swami was giving discourse, and one of the discourses he said, Avatar when he goes to Swasthanam means his actual abode, the place from where he has come. It's not a physical place, it's a symbolism. So when Avatar goes to Swasthanam, it's not a matter of sorrow, it's a matter of joy, because he is going back and identifying himself with that from which he descended in order to set an example to mankind. We were working in 2008 Shivaratri time, why Swami is talking about Avatar going to Swasthanam? Swami said, see, Rama was not permanent, Krishna was not permanent, even this body is not permanent. It will also go off one day. So stick to my message and my principle, not to this body. On another Navaratri discourse, Dasara discourse, Swami said, Ishwarama is calling me. She said, I am waiting for you, Swami, since such a long time. You are not finishing your work and coming fast. She is in Vaikuntham. In Vaikuntham, everything is yellow in color. If you recollect now, or if you haven't, please go and read these discourses. So many such subtle hints Swami had given. In 2010 on Ugadi day, just a year before all this happened, Swami reconstituted the Central Trust. He was till then the only trustee of the trust. Everybody else was member of the Executive Council. So that only he had signing authority. Nobody else had. So in 2010 April, Swami made 5 trustees. So in the physical absence of Swami, others can also sign. It can be done jointly, and now it is like that. At least 2 out of the 5 have to jointly sign on checks. There are 3 people who are nominated for that. Swami made that arrangement in Ugadi 2010. He merged certain institutions, he demerged certain institutions. He changed the setup of Prashant Nilayam for effective functioning. On 85th birthday morning, inside he said, very happy, he said, today is 95th birthday. This was much later, we thought it was a joke. Swami called 85th, 95th that day. Later on that thing came out that Swami said today is 95th birthday. Papam Swami by mistake said 95th birthday. Papam Swami said by mistake 95th birthday. On the day Swami folded his hands like that, I was there, we all would have seen those photographs. We all thought that maybe instead of doing like this, Swami did like this. So we thought maybe there was a neuro malfunction. It was not a neuro malfunction, it was a divine communication that goodbye and good luck. And that day evening in the mandir, in the Yajur mandir, and I've shared, this is shared with me by some of them who were there. Swami said in Telugu, he said, casually in conversation, this can be interpreted in so many ways. Later on they realized that this is what Swami meant. Swami said, he said in Telugu, ఇప్పుడు time అయిపోయింది Swami. Now time is over. ఇప్పుడు వయస్సు కూడా చాలా అయింది. Age also has advanced a lot. Both these sentences can be taken so casually. We may think that Swami is telling casually, time is over, means I am going upstairs. And age is advanced, I am not keeping good health. That was the day when Swami folded his hands and indicated to us that he has decided to wind up. And then, in today's discourse, and one more point. This was shared with us much later when Swami was lying in state for those 3 days. One of my junior students who used to be serving Swami physically by pushing the chair and all of that, he recollected after Swami's physical form was interred. He later shared with us, he said, 4 years back there was a Shirdi Sai Baba drama in Kulwant Hall. And in that drama, in between the drama, Swami went inside the interview room. And in that drama there is a scene that Shirdi Sai Baba for 3 days lies he's unconscious and then he comes back. So Swami said, see, there was a scene now, no, Shirdi Sai Baba was lying for state for 3 days and that he will come back again. Swami said, I will also like this be lying in state for 3 days. Everybody will be waiting for me to come back, but I will not come back, Swami said. This was told about 4 years back in 2007. So these students said, Swami, why you are saying like that? Still so much of time is there. Swami smiled, very happy, very happy. He's communicated what he wanted to communicate and he then said, very happy. All of these things which I shared just now, and of course how he withdrew from public life, giving discourses, singing bhajans, giving darshan, giving interviews. You see a stage by stage withdrawal, stopping the regular schedule, giving darshan every alternate day, then giving darshan twice a week, thrice a week, giving darshan at odd timings, not participating in decision making, not coming for practice sessions of the sports meet, not participating in university activities as actively as used to, or organization activities. And we saw a very gradual exit of Swami's physical and public involvement in activities. What does all of this communicate to us? Was it a sudden exit? Was it that Swami gave up his body because he could no longer sustain himself in that? His sickness had overpowered him. There are so many kind of interpretations which devotees knowingly and unknowingly ascribe to Swami without realizing whom are we talking about. We are talking about someone whom we equate to Jesus, to Buddha, to the prophets of the modern and the ancient era. And then we are saying that maybe Swami left his body because he was so sick. Swami did not leave his body because he was sick. He willed it that this should be the way he exists. And for over a dozen years, Swami has trained us gradually withdrawing and gradually giving us responsibility and messages. The last part of Swami's life, we've heard about Leela, Mahima, Upadesh, right? The first 16 years Leela, sport, Mahima, miracles. Third 16 years Upadesh, going all over the place, giving discourses. Then 16 years Vidya, establishing educational institutions, SSC programs, Bal Vikas. Next 16 years Vaidya, establishing super specialty hospitals, taking care of health for people. And water projects, which comes under healthcare because water supply is related to sanitation and related to healthcare. The last is establishment of Sanatana Dharma. The last part of Swami's life was focused on Advaitam. Don't follow the body, follow the principle. I am I and you are one. We are not separate from each other. You are God. He was very, very clearly planning his exit. My objective of sharing this with today on Mahasamadhi Day is, let us not trivialize Swami's life and his exit by comparing it with physical phenomena and reasons. We must realize that Swami has said that this Dharma Swarupa, he used to refer to his body, and that even in yesterday's discourse, Swami said that I chose on my mother, I chose on my father, I chose where I will be born, I chose how I will come. E Shariram Ilagane Raledu. This body has just not come like that. He always used to, this is Dharma Swarupa. It has come to work towards the objective which it has decided, and even if the 14 worlds get together, they will not be able to oppose or object or obstruct the purpose for which this body has incarnated. I have set that job in motion. Now my role is over for this particular avatar, and hence Nenu Swasthanam ki veltunnanu. I am going back to where I have come from. The divine, in Sanatana Dharma it is said, if you have seen all the scriptures, Mahavishnu, in the scriptures they will say Mahavishnu all the devas will go to Mahavishnu and say that, oh, there is so much of unrighteousness in the world, so please help us. So he said, okay, I have willed to be born in Dasharatha's house as Rama. I have willed to be born as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva. It is all, that language is always used. I have willed. The Advaita, the Vishnu and all of these things are symbolic in a way. Swami always used to say it's a principle. What is that will? From Advaita, that I am one with entire creation, I have willed it to be born, so I have separated myself, and that Tattva has descended into a body to accomplish a mission, an avataric mission. And when that work is over, he wills that he goes back to Swasthanam from where he has emerged. In a conversation with Dr. Hislop asked Swami, where were you between your Shirdi Baba's Samadhi and your birth? Swami said, I was where I always am. I had identified myself with the smallest of the small and the largest of the large. I was one with the microcosm and macrocosm. That is what Swasthanam means. It is there in Conversations with Satsai Baba by Dr. Hislop. Please read up this conversation. Swasthanam means going back to the Advaita Tattva and becoming one with the cosmic principle, which he was then also, but he separated himself for the task. So let us appreciate the task, let us be inspired by this life, and let us live it in order to achieve the mission which Swami has put forth. And what is that mission? I'll just conclude with this last experience. This mission, Swami had once spoken to Professor Sampath and his Vice Chancellor, third Vice Chancellor of the university, a great scientist. Swami said, Swami was very upset with the students. So Professor Sampath was trying to play the role of a teacher and saying, Swami, please forgive them. Why are you getting upset with them? After all, they are students, teenage, time, circumstances and all. Swami said, Sampath, do you know why I am upset with them? I am upset with them because they are not aware of what I have envisioned for them, what I want them to become. Then Swami said, I want each one of them to become, and then he pointed out at himself. He said, I want each one of them to become like me, not wearing orange robe and having a mop of hair on the head. To be like I have lived my life, to spend your existence in the exalted levels as we are expected to as human beings, and to put forth that ideal before the world as to what Swami has trained and groomed each one of us for. It is then that they will truly be living as per my expectation, and they are getting engrossed and involved in petty mischief, which is a waste of their precious time. That is what I have envisaged for them. That is what I have envisaged for all my devotees. That is the mission of Bhagavan, and that is what we all need to understand and practice. That is the true purport of Aradhana Mahotsava. That we are celebrating a life, we are celebrating a message We are celebrating a mission which has inspired us to a higher life and which will henceforth continue to motivate us to resonate and lead that higher life which was lived before us as an example for 8.5 decades. So that in the eons of history, when people come, they will know through the lives of the followers of this phenomena what that life stood for. And they will be inspired by each of those individual lives collectively seen as a great conflagration of divinity which he bequeathed to us in his lifetime. That is how we can pay true homage and true obeisances to Swami in our life. We'll be making our lives his message. With that, I would like to conclude. Jai Sat.
My humble pronounce the Divine Lotus Feet of Bhagavan. Sairam. Thank you, Shashank, for a messageful experience session. So I was thinking of this day, and I was thinking this is probably a day of mixed emotions. There are few of us who are fortunate enough to interact with Bhagavan in this physical form. And today is the day where they would probably go back and recollect, relive those moments and remind themselves of the message. And for the rest of us, what better way than listening to such experiences and help these experiences remind us of what we have to do right now. For that, thank you, Shashank. You talked about our life being his message, and then you cannot separate a worldly life with spiritual life. And that reminded me that I think he's reminding us saying, hey, there is noise next door. You got to separate the noise out and listen to the message to follow the path of spirituality. Thankfully, Shashank's voice level and matched the decibel level from coming from the next door, so I think we're okay. So, on behalf of all the members of Chicago Sai Centers, I would like to thank Shashank one more time. I'd like to invite Brother Ramesh Mehta to come and share our certificate of love with Brother Shashank.
When I had finished my PhD, this was in January 2011, I had got this award which they announced, the Association of Indian Management Scholars International Outstanding Doctoral Research Student Award. It's a long name, but it was given at IIM Ahmedabad. And I had got a certificate like this and photographs of that award, and the HR College Golden Alumnus Award, which was given by the Sheriff of Mumbai. So I had taken it to Swami's residence and I had given it to Brother Satyajit, and he took it inside. And then he told Swami, he has got best PhD award in IIM Ahmedabad. So he has sent it for your blessings. So that in January 2011, Swami's physical health was not that great. But he said, Brother Satyajit came out and told me, he said, Swami looked at the certificate, smiled, and then put his hand on that. So that was like a culmination of my activity, my academic endeavor. Swami told me to do PhD. He told me how much period to complete. He conferred the degree on me. The PhD received an award. I offered the award back to Swami and he blessed it, saying that he is very happy. So that was like a real culmination of the entire endeavor initiated by Swami, offered back to Swami. There are some other experiences related to that. I have an opportunity to speak tomorrow and on Sunday at the centers. So I will share some of those things then. I know I've already taken a lot of your time, but this certificate reminded me of it. So again, I've offered it back to Swami. Thank you.